Hey everybody, so I'm back after a week of cavorting around the Alaskan coastline, experiencing some really great, really beautiful sights, and ultimately realizing that I didn't see nearly as much of Alaska as one might do if they really kind of traveled around the entire state. Being in that one little corner only gives you a small flavor for it, but it was pretty amazing, I have to say. So we're back, but it means that there hasn't been really any work done on the Palangeau Park. The house behind me, that is still being built, and so, making a lot of noise. But I thought what we'd do now is to just walk around and see what's going on, see how things are looking, and give some guidance as to what I need to do next. One annoyance is that the bird feeders keep toppling over. I'm not sure why. I suspect it has something to do with chipmunks underneath burrowing and, knocking them over. Still, when I do get them back up, the birds are arriving, but this has been a constant problem in the last couple of days. The garden is now really, really full, and not everything has bloomed, but actually very little has actually bloomed yet, except for these flowers, beautiful purple flowers back here. But ultimately what this all means is that there's a lot of daylilies, there's all kinds of other things that will eventually be providing some color, but right now it just kind of looks like a really, really full green, slightly out of control set of, greenery. But I want to point out a couple of other things. Down here, you see where the daffodils used to be and are now kind of fading away. Those particular green stems will eventually be gone, but over the years I have added a lot of hostas along this area, and you can see them all peeking through and actually looking very, very well. Over in this area, we've got what will eventually be some coneflowers or black-eyed Susans. I can't remember which ones came up first or which ones I planted here, to be quite honest. Of significance here is that some of the irises have bloomed. You might remember, if you looked at the video that I posted from 2009, I posted it last week, you'll notice that there were a lot more of these irises here, but they've kind of gotten taken over by all of the daylilies. And as I mentioned before, we had our wall redone here last year, and I think that may have taken some out. Frank wants to get rid of some of the excess around these, and I don't blame him, but the daylilies eventually will be quite beautiful here. So to zoom in a little bit more, this is woodland sage that has some beautiful purple flowers, and they are kind of the lone blooming flowers in this particular section, although there will be more in the coming weeks. These are also cool here. These are known as Philadelphia fleabane. Not sure how they got that name, if they've been moved here from Philadelphia. I know I didn't move them here, but nevertheless, they're really kind of pretty little, almost daisy looking like flowers. One of the nasty things that always pops up every year is poison ivy. You can tell it by the 3 leaves that are part of a stem, and we've got a lot of it in here, so I have to be real careful, because every year I end up trying to pull some of it out, and inevitably I'll get it on my ankles or other places that make it a very, very uncomfortable, itchy experience. So the path is looking pretty good. Lots of hostas are now looking really pretty great, outlining the edges of the path back here. This part of the pathway needs to be trimmed because, as you can tell, there are things growing throughout here, including some annoying little weeds. Kind of excited about this ground cover here that I planted maybe a year or two ago, and it didn't really get much further than this little section here, but I can tell that it's really starting to grow and spread, and I think if we look over here, we're going to see there's actually more of it back here. So I may need to cut what's around it so that it doesn't overpower the beauty of that particular ground cover. So the key with some of this stuff back here is that I really have to be careful because there are some great hostas, but they're being a little overwhelmed by this excess growth, which I have to make a clear distinction between what is weed and ground cover versus what are some really lovely flowers to soon bloom. So after a bit of trimming, got a little bit of the excess weeds and stuff out in order to make some of the other stuff pop that has been planted here over the years. But again, this is one of the really hard parts about the Palangeau Park, is that it takes constant attention, and it requires, well, it requires a lot of work to get out here and to make sure that you're getting what you want. I'm still a little disturbed with this area back here, which is becoming a little too heavily buckthorn like. Actually not like at all. It is. There's all this buckthorn back here. I mean, the trails, I've got the trails covered, but see, this is just, it is too much. If I don't cut this at some point, it's going to turn into all of that. Now, some people might like that, but I'm not a big fan of quite this much. I would like to do something else with this area, and perhaps at some point in time I will this summer, if not next. But obviously I did it before, and obviously it's possible to do again. At least we've still got our various trails, and it's going to take a little more work out here this summer to clean it up even more. But basically we're running against rain, we're running against good weather, a little bit of everything to make it a much cleaner type of garden and park. But it looks pretty good. Let's check out, by the way, what's going on with the bird feeder right now. Usually there's a bunch of these birds that are here. I'm beginning to think that one might be clogged. I don't know. We'll see. We'll deal with that next. And all over here is doing well. So that's where we're at the moment. There's a little more chopping and things that needs to be done, at least for this week. So more later. I have Frank is here in investigating what's going on with the tomato plants. What do you think, Frank?
Well, tomato plants are doing okay. I got to get rid of all of these weeds. I'm going to come out and whack them. Just in a week that we've been gone, they've all popped up. But these are doing much better over on this side. These tomato plants are 1, 2, 3, 4. But then these are growing really tall. So they're doing this one's doing particularly well.
So they just mowed, and I think the front is looking pretty good. Everything that's supposed to pop, like the flowers along the driveway here and all of the hostas, are popping really nicely. And while some of the mulch is still to be seen, I think it's probably also helped to improve the looks of this front area. These I planted earlier this spring. They're doing really well too. So overall, I'm happy how it is right now. We'll see how it goes as we get into the summer when it gets really hot, because sometimes a lot of this dries up. So inside the house, there's a lot of plants that we keep in here for the winter. But now that we've hit the end of May, this is a good time to take some of these and put them outside for the summer. So this guy tends to like it in this spot. Here last year, maybe a little cricket though, but we'll figure that out. And then the fern, he likes it over here by this tree. And the Zen garden looks a little bit better with some house plants that'll be out here for the whole summer. Still got to work on those walls. And so we contacted Jonathan, who has worked on our wall and our patio, and set him to work on cleaning up the walls. I've shot this from the inside because there's a lot of dust and stuff that kind of blows all over, but you can see these guys are doing a lot of really detailed work to clean these up. Like a brand new space. They even did these steps, which need some work on their own and need to be rebuilt, but for now this is looking much more like it's supposed to look. Pretty cool, huh? So that's Palangeau Park for the end of May. We're pretty happy, and there's more to come, as there's a lot yet to bloom and a lot left to do.